your life depends on the network you choose. Your movies, music, and games can only be as good as your network's speed and strength. Slow means
game over.
But the Philippines' fastest mobile data network means
game changing.
Choose the network that gives you what you truly enjoy. How do you know about this Giga Life?
Simple and smart ako.
Welcome once again to another episode of Bull by the Horn by Benny Benitez. Magandang gabi po. Gandang gabi po mga ka-Bull by the Horn, mga ka-Pinoyliga. And again, my name is Benny Benitez. I am your Pinoyliga founder and I'd like to welcome you to our 5th episode of Bull by the Horn. Last week, you had your 2 straight weeks of ano po tayo, panay usapang PSL. So we got to, get to have our hands full with our volleyball community. So nakadalawa po sila. So last week po, nakuha natin sila signal players. Nakakatuwa po yung discussion na yon. So right now, we're back to our show, ang aking pong show. Ang sabi nila, Bull by the Horn by Benny Benitez nga daw po. So ang mga topics po nito are ranging in so many things, and in this episode po we're gonna be dealing with a very very relevant, to say the least, topic, and this is close to heart and close to the heart and mind of everyone, because we are all dealing with one thing and one big thing, which is our pandemic due to COVID-19. And currently, just for the benefit of everyone, as of July 25, we are at 78,412 with 2,019 new cases. Meron din po tayo 1,897 deaths with, good 25,752 recoveries. But truth of the matter is that we're still here. We're stuck in this pandemic that we have, very unprecedented. So it's very, very relevant these days to talk about the health and the mental and the physical wellness of everyone. Not just the players, not just the ones that are involved in the sports industry, but everyone. Every Filipino or every person in the world that's experiencing COVID-19 right now needs to be, how should we say it? Needs to have a better understanding of what's happening. So we have right now in our discussion a very, very nice pool of people that will be helping us navigate COVID-19 from a physical and a mental wellness point of view. So start off with one of the best doctors around, or one of the nicest people that you'll ever gonna meet, and Doc Rich Pasion is gonna be with us. There's also this is my blood brother, Mr. Mike Montes, who's the director of sports for Kerry Sports. We also have and pa si Brad Zotomayor from the insurance industry, and also Martin Alido from Batangilas, and he's part of the SBP crew that handles the strength and conditioning, ano po. And at the same time, from on the mental aspect side naman po, ano, we have invited Miss Olivia Yao, who's a motivational speaker. She's also into trying to really be an advocate of good mental and spiritual wellness po. Catch the discussion later because Miss Olivia is gonna be with us around the 8:50 9 o'clock timestamp, ano. But for the meantime, i-introduce ko po ako po palagi pag nagwe-webcast po tayo, I don't let myself be alone. I try to be with the good guys that has been in the industry for a very very long time. So I try to be with Noel Zarate, with Anthony Suntay, with Tex Suter, with Jude Torquato. Ang ginagawa po natin, we try to get the best minds possible. And in this week, ang kinuha po natin na makakasama natin is Mr. Game Time himself. Mr. Migs Bustos. So siya po yung makakasama natin mag-navigate ng discussion. And the good thing about Migs is that he's also into this. He's also into webcasting and he's also into the lifestyle side. Very holistic talaga yung approach niya. It's not just the game time um, aspect of things like sports lang, he's also into the other aspects of life, so wala na pong kabog-abog. I'd like to introduce to you our co moderator for this discussion, Mr. Migs Bustos.
Hello, 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 hello,
Hi,
hello,
Migs.
hello, hello, Benny. Hello, what's up? Thank you. Maraming salamat sa kind introduction and glad to be here sa Pinoyliga. Thanks, Benny.
Hi, salamat. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, Migs, for accepting our invitation to be here. But, for the benefit of everyone, Migs, kami sa Pinoy Liga is very, very much appreciative of game time. Ngayon ko lang masasabi yung aking appreciation because you guys were the one who gave us the first exposure. And I will forever remember that time that you interviewed me, and this is my way of really reaching out to you again and just continuing our synergy, like what we always do again. So very much appreciated yun. Thank you, and
Salamat.
again thank you
Salamat.
for being here, So like I mentioned, Migs, this is gonna be a very full packed discussion with some of the best minds in our industry, the sports wellness industry, so but before that, tanungin ko lang, what keeps you busy? Ano nga ba nangyayari sa these days? Ay,
Question mo nga,
go ahead, Migs.
kanya-kanya tayo ng kanya-kanya tayo ng mga online platforms. I think with what the quarantine brought us is the democracy of online platforms, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, lahat ng mga podcast, lahat ng mga sports talk, lahat ng mga wellness talk, and ito na nga yung new normal natin. And yun, I've been busy with that ever since the start of the quarantine. And siguro ngayon na, Benny, di ba, iwas din tayo lumabas, so walang mga gyms for the first part. And ngayon, ina-avoid pa rin natin yung mass gatherings. So lahat tayo nag-turn to home workouts. Lahat tayo nag-turn to our online coaches. Some, baka may mga ine-emulate tayo sa YouTube or online. So yun, so what this quarantine maybe has taught me is to be resourceful, appreciate the things that we have. And ano pa ba, I'm soon to be dad, so I'm soon to be dad. Unika iha, pare. Unika iha. So ngayon inaasikaso ko lang yung wife ko, and
sure.
We can talk so much negative about COVID, what's happening to the Philippines and to the world. Pero parang sometimes when you put things into perspective, puro negative, di ba? Pero pag-usapan din natin yung positive. Parang ano ba yung mga magandang na idudulot ito. I think for one, I've spent so much time with my wife, getting to know her more, with my family, getting to rest, getting to sleep, change in lifestyle, kung ano man yung pwedeng baguhin. Ano pa ba? Marami siguro. But I think it's, as you mentioned, Benny, magandang pag-usapan natin from a physical and mental aspect because we may be okay physically, Pero sometimes pala yung mga mental challenge, mental maybe emotions or mental
Agree.
parang challenges na
Agree.
naiisip natin, it's taking a toll on us na pala. So ako
Agree.
personally, I also have my challenges. So it's a nice time to be here tonight with you.
Agree. Thank you very much again. O, kaya nga ako sabi ko, I'm very curious of what you do now eh. And then sabi mo nga, ano, dyan sa in your, alam ko, bagong lipat ka rin sa yung ano, bagong crib. So, I
Di
congratulate you.
pa.
Hindi pa.
Di pa.
Okay, but
September pa.
soon to be.
September.
Okay.
Soon to
Good.
be.
So,
Soon to be. Yes,
but
salamat.
I congratulate you for the new things that life is offering you, especially that little bundle of joy. I think that's the
Yes.
best. That's the best news that you could ever get for this year. No?
Yes.
So,
Thank
Migs,
you.
help me out. Help me out in navigating this discussion of good friends, nice talk. So, gusto mo ba? Pasok na natin. Pasok na natin
Sige. Okay,
the
game.
people that's gonna be part of our discussion. Sige.
Okay.
Let's start off with Mr. Mike Montes and Martin, Doc Rich Pasion, and of course, Mr. Bardz Zotomayor. Sige, let's give them the opportunity to just give their shout outs and give their highs and hellos to start off this discussion. Mike, I'd like to give the floor to you first so that you could give your shout outs to the people out there. Hi, Mike.
Hey, hi guys. Hi Benny. Thanks for having me on the show. This looks like it's going to be an interesting conversation today. We've obviously lived through this now for the last 4 months, and there's a lot of different opinions, I guess, and a lot of different ways to go about how to get out on the other end of it. So I look forward to everyone's opinion, and look forward to sharing what we've been doing at Kerry Sports to also get us through these times.
All right, Mike. Mike, I'm looking forward to your insights, really, brother.
Sure.
We'll talk later, because this guy, Doc Rich and I were part of this crew called YBC, so we're representing them. So later, let's do our shout outs to them. So, Doc Rich, I'll give the floor to you. Hi, Doc.
Yeah,
How are you?
Hi Benny.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks again for inviting me over. I see a good set of guests also here. Interesting topics and also maybe lots of things to talk about. And shout out to YBC family. That's it.
All right. Sige, I'll give the floor now to Martz. Martz, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for inviting
Uh,
me. And shout out kila Coach Jong, Boss X, Coach Mark, and Coach Ryan. SVP Coaches Academy.
Of course, naman mga kaibigan natin, definitely,
Yes.
Kaya rin shoutout na rin ako kila Coach Jongoy Chico. Of course, sisimulan ko na rin pa kay ED, Sunny Barrios, of course, ang ating boss, si boss manager Butch Antonio, and si Coach Jongoy Chico and the rest of the group, Coach Ryan Becha, Coach Mark, and of course, Mr. X Gubat, ang ating liaison of everything. Thank you, sir, for being,
Ako, papati
alam ko
naman ako.
nanonood. Oh, go.
Benny, babati naman ako.
Go ahead.
Babati naman ako kay Coach Mike, kay Sir Ditch, kay Coach
Go
Martin,
ahead.
tsaka kay Benny. Binabati ko lang yun.
Hindi ko nabate. Meron pa tayong isang guest, that we'd like to to bring into the discussion, Mr. Bardz Zotomayor. He's a part of the AA Guarantee Insurance Sales Team. He's gonna be talking later about the insurance industry's take on the health and wellness discussion that we're gonna have. Sir Bardz, go ahead. Give your shout outs to our listeners. Mukhang may technical difficulties pa si Sir Bardz. So, sige, let's try to have him into the discussion later. Ayan, okay. All right, he's in there already. Okay. Thank you very much, Boss Bardz. Medyo sige, later we'll have better audio naman. Sige, let's start off that discussion already.
Yes.
Siguro Migs, if you may.
Yes,
I'd
hi.
like to give
First, thank you sa Pinoyliga for giving us opportunity, And then, syempre, shout out to to the hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
Sir Bardz.
yes.
Sige, Sir Bardz. Go ahead.
Mabagal. Yeah.
Anyway,
Sige.
parang I think
Meron technical difficulties yata. Yeah, go ahead, Mix.
Hindi.
anyway, sige,
Mawawala.
anyway, so yun. Sir Bardz, pwede tayo humabol mamaya. So gentlemen, maraming salamat. Siguro Benny, I
Yeah.
just want
Go
to
ahead,
start
Mix.
it first for
Go
Coach
ahead.
Mike kasi syempre we are at the kumbaga yung the first thing that we want to do is like of course exercise. The first thing we want to do is to get fit, to get healthy. But I want to get it from your perspective first. How was it like during the first months, especially you know, walang gyms eh. Especially sports and recreation centers are closed. At the same time, what was it like from your perspective and how did you guys adjust?
Well, for us, I think obviously we had to close. I think it was March 18th when we first closed our doors, and the big adjustment, of course, was for mainly the members. We had to let them know that they couldn't come in the next day. There's no, it's not our choice. It's something that we had to comply with. So I think the biggest change was for the members, and especially the regulars that come in almost daily. And it was a very surreal experience because I would go into work and nobody would be there. So when normally it would be a full gym. So that took a while to get used to. I'm sure people, being stuck at home, had no alternatives to exercise, and they had to find different ways to work out, whether that's body weight exercises at home or just because nobody could run outside. So it was a very, very strange experience just to get things started in March.
How is the industry adjusting now, Coach Mike?
Well, right now it's still, everything is still closed. So we aren't allowed, the health and fitness industry aren't allowed to open until at least the MGCQ has been announced by the government. And that keeps getting pushed back. It's been pushed back twice now. So, and the way it's looking, it's with the cases, as Benny mentioned earlier, it's still going up. So, we're positive, or trying to stay positive that things will change soon. We do our part. I'm sure the other clubs are doing their part to, put in some protocols that they will go with once we open. I know we're raring to open and getting ready with our new normal type procedures, and there's very little right now that's being brought down by the government. I think those 50% of your capacity was the main thing that you were supposed to follow, but that's quite vague. So basically, what we've done is just took a look at what other countries successfully have done for their fitness industries to try and transition over to making it safe and a healthy environment again.
Now, Doc Rich, I want to get it from your perspective. Of course, no sports, eh? Diba, Doc Rich? No sports now. Everybody's just strengthening at home. But what was it like from your end, from your profession? Diba? How are you managing, athletes' health? Was it a better time now na baka marami mga nagpapa-rehab? Diba? What's it like from your perspective?
Hello, Migs. Yeah, can you repeat it again? Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just repeat the whole thing. Now, since there's no sports, right? There's no sports, no any physical competition. How's it like managing from your end, from your profession? The behavior of maybe athletes is rehab. Yeah, I want to get it from your perspective.
Well, first of all, there's no sports, no games, no practices for now. It's kind of slow, but you'll be surprised. I still get lots of referrals and lots of consults regarding themselves hurting themselves in their homes because they try to do maybe some online workouts which they haven't done before. And maybe, well, I got a few also patients that have also ACL injuries. So it's just so weird. I don't know how they get them. And maybe some traumatic. Most of my cases now are trauma also, like vehicular accidents or people who just fall in their homes, like shoulder dislocations. But I've got a few ACL surgeries also that it's weird. I don't know how they actually injured themselves then. So, but it's mostly hurting themselves with doing workouts which they don't really know doing.
Why do you think so? I mean, there's a common denominator, diba, Doc Rich?
Yeah, well, first of all, not everything you see in YouTube or anything online is correct, right? So you have to go to the sources which actually have credibility. At least someone who will also teach you the proper way of doing things. So it's not just so simple that you get a list of exercises you should do, but first of all, you should know how to do them properly. So proper posture, proper techniques, which is actually very important, especially if you have to do it several times in a day. And first 2 days, 3 days, I'm sure your body will really ache. Of course, that's why you have to do everything gradually, especially if it's your first time. So for me, I always tell you, if anything, if you're anything you're gonna do first time, you have to just feel it out first. Just do a few reps, feel how it goes the next day or the second day. Then if there's no pain, I'm sure you're gonna have some pain because you're gonna be working some of your muscle groups you really don't use, especially if you do some core exercises, plankings like that. You have to do proper posture and techniques. Then squats, especially doing some dumbbells, kettlebells. If you don't do it properly, you'll really hurt yourself then.
Agree
Okay,
on that.
now for Coach Martin, I just want to ask, what are the teams that you handle, and how are they doing during this quarantine?
Right now kasi I'm handling the e-sport. Okay. So it's totally new. Lalo na ano lang sila hindi sila ganun ka-active. So the more na mas kailangan nila mas alagaan ang sarili nila. Kasi chances ng kanilang burnout or mental fatigue sobrang sobrang kawawa sa kanila. Kasi imagine mo 8 to 12 hours of playing. Siyempre pagod na pagod ka na kagad nun. What more pag wala silang physical activity. And syempre, iba rin yung oras ng para silang graveyard shift. So baliktad yung oras nila. So kailangan i-twitch na mabuti yung how I train for them. And yung Batang Gilas, walang walang tournament. So kawawa yung mga bata. So on hold for next year na.
I just want to ask, Migs talaga. This is a curiosity that I have in my mind when Martin mentioned about esports, having physical, a sports, a conditioning coach. And what are the type of exercises, or really, I think, I'll be honest, what are the type of stretching that they're doing? Is it in the hand side? Talaga, this is a curiosity that I have, Mars. Sige, be honest. Ano nga bang ginagawa nila?
Well, for esports kasi, it's no different from a regular sport. So, kung ano yung training for them na let's say for a basketball player, halos parehas lang naman. Pero syempre, kailangan mo idaan-daan sa kanila na bago sa kanila yung paggalaw . It's mostly, they are sedentary.
Right.
So we're trying to change their image and parang do we want to have them feel good about themselves, how they present themselves. Parang hindi lang yung parang nakalaro ka lang buong araw. Kasi what we're trying to do or what I'm trying to help them is to change their habit.
Okay.
Ano yung naging approach, Coach Martin?
Of course, kailangan matutunan ko rin yung kung ano yung lalaro nila. So, kailangan, parang, kumbaga, kung naglalaro rin tayo ng basketball, we should know kung ano yung rules ng basketball. So, kung paano ko siya i-approach sa kanila, kung ano yung mga key terms para at least madali kong matranslate sa kanila yung kailangan nilang paggawa. Parang, kumbaga, yung communication is the key for them . Kasi mataas ang mga IQ niyan .
Yeah.
So kailangan ibaba ko i-level ko with myself na okay, naiintindihan ko yung lalaro nila and mas madali ko matra-transition sa kanila.
That's also one factor, Coach Martin, now for Coach Mike. I guess what Coach Martin is trying to emulate is empathy also. At the same time, we have to feel each other on what we are going through. We're not gamers. We're not esports athletes, but at the same time, we have to be on their shoes. At the same time, for the regular gym goers, diba, Coach Mike, they're so used to the equipment, so used to the training and the work, and then suddenly you have to be at home, and sometimes you don't have any access to the things that you have in the gym. What was it like for you, from your end, to be able to give to them the effective kind of lifestyle and workouts?
Well, I think Doc Rich was correct because he was mentioning that a lot of times people are trying different exercises that they may have not been used to, and they've gone online to YouTube to see what they could do, and there's a lot of free stuff out there, which makes things challenging for gyms and health clubs to really put together a program that's maybe a little different because everything is free. So, I think I'll just kind of agree with Doc Rich there when he says that you have to be careful with the type of programs that you find online, because it's not just something that, okay, this is a hit program, let me follow this because that's what I used to do at Kerry, or this is a yoga, you know what I mean? So it's you have to be, as a consumer or as a member, you also have to do your homework to follow the right programs and the right plans for what you've been doing and what you're used to.
Like how, Coach?
Well, I think the regulars, I think if they're coming in 3 to 5 times a week, they're probably not going to injure themselves following any type of YouTube video. But it's the ones that usually don't come in as often that all of a sudden they have no gym to go to. Then they start searching for something online, and they see something that, okay, I could probably handle this. And Doc seeing the result of that with injuries that I'm also surprised to hear about. So so I think if you could get a hold of your trainers, like we're always we're still there, we're closed, but there's ways to get a hold of our trainers and so on that we can still assist. So it's not just go about it on your own, find a program to do and start lifting weights or start doing push-ups or squats or kettlebell pushes or kettlebell swings that you've never done before, right? So
Right. Yeah, Mike, I've been
Many.
seeing a lot. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of videos over at the Kerry Sports Facebook page. And
Yeah.
I think it's a very good pivot that you guys are doing to bring to life to your members what they were supposed to experience if it was the old normal. So
Yeah.
tell us about it, Mike. How was the transition from the real life things happening to now being online?
Yeah, that's the other side of it, is that as a business, you have to still continue to stay in touch with your members, or else, you don't know what will happen. We don't know when this will end. So we are constantly in touch with the members, as well as obviously, like you saw, Benny, we're doing classes, live classes, as well as other fitness tips online. So that was a different transition, because even for the trainers, some of my trainers now are coming in and teaching the classes. Normally they're teaching in front of people, and now they're just teaching in front of a camera, right? So it was very strange for them as well, but this is the way it has to be now, because they've got to transition, and most clubs that didn't have a good online program before are now catching up very quickly. I think that has to happen, and like you said, that's the pivot that needs to occur for most gyms.
Right. Agree. Migs?
Go ahead,
Hello?
Benny. Go ahead, Benny.
Okay.
If you have questions.
Yeah, I think that's a very nice pivot, Mike, that you did, and I've been seeing a lot of programs, not just on the physical side, but the mental aspect as well. I think you have some yoga classes that you're doing there, so it's a more of a holistic approach that you're trying to do there with Kerry. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it's not about always making revenue. Obviously, we all want to make revenue, and at the moment, with everything closed, we're not making any. But as I said, there's a lot of information out there that you can get for free, and we're not saying that everyone is bad. There's a lot of good YouTubers and a lot of good coaches online already that are giving free information. So, we also want to give back to the members and give them. They've paid for a year membership already, right? So these are classes that normally they would have taken had we been open. So yoga is one of them, and that's a free class that we give on a weekly basis.
Yeah, but the only thing that's the slacking would be the physical activities like what we normally do over at
Yeah.
Kerry's, which is basketball, which is something that really I'm looking forward. You, Doc Rich, Martin, I'm sure Migs is also looking forward to that.
Not only that too, Benny,
So
but also the social aspect. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times,
Yeah.
agree. Yeah,
people are joining gyms so that they can be around other people. You know,
true.
and socialize, especially at Kerry, where the basketball community is very strong. The yoga community is another strong community that they all go out with each other afterwards, right? So,
True.
these are things that I'm sure people are really missing out, are missing.
Right.
I wanna ask Doc Rich.
Right.
Doc Rich, ano ba yung mga preventive na mga exercise or maybe measures that we can do to, just in case, well, knock on wood, diba? I mean, when we do our workouts or when we move, diba? Like what we do on a daily basis to keep our muscles and bones strong.
Oh, one. In- Yes,
Right, so I think we're just experiencing something, some connection constraints
Challenges.
from challenges and from anyway we're just trying to get back to Doc Rich, but I want to go to
Yeah.
Coach Martin muna while we're waiting for Doc Rich. Coach Martin, yun nga no, I still we're still curious on like how is it like from an esports perspective, diba? Like you mentioned that there's this parang adjustment, diba? There's this adjustment period, etc. And there has to be like a knowing or a liking to what we do. But at first, diba, like when you talk to the athletes, they're just used to gaming. What is it like from their end on? Like, sige, mag-exercise na ako. Kailangan ko pasukan ng physical aspect.
I guess yung ngayon pa lang kasi siya magsa-start in Asia. So ginagawa na kasi yan sa Western countries and mga European countries. So we're starting pa lang lalo na dito sa Philippines. Kasi lalo na mas ang pinaka ang career nila 23 years old. Doon na-experience nila ang mga retirement nila, which sa sports, papik pa lang tayo nun eh. Diba? So kailangan at as young as mga 16 years old, naglalaro ng mga yan eh. So the more na mas kailangan nilang guidance from us. And not only guidance, also overall holistic approach, well-being on the mental side, on the physical side, and syempre, ang goal naman dyan pahabain lalo yung career nila. Kasi we want to change yung industry. We want to improve on them.
Pero coach, ganun pala, no? 23, retiring age na sa esports?
Yes, kasi may mga injuries na sila na nangyayari, mga wrist injuries, low back pain, mga hips, wrist, elbows, shoulders. So normal people rin naman sila na i-injure rin. So the more na mas kailangan nilang alagaan na sarili nila as young as 16, naging gamers na kagad yan. And we're treating them as a professional. So how we communicate with them is on a professional level. Kasi they're earning Mas mataas pa nga minsan kinikita nila pag they compete internationally. Diba?
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
true.
true.
That's true.
So the more
You know what, Benny? Go ahead.
So the more kailangan talaga alagaan.
Yeah. You know what, Benny? I got
You were
to
saying, Mick.
interview. Kwento ko lang, I got to interview two esports athletes, the ones that who joined the FIBA tournament. And what I learned from them is the reason why is they do the graveyard shifts, 8 to 10 hours a day. Parang ang ano talaga yun nga, like graveyard, di ba? Like the wee hours of the morning is, quote unquote, they grind. They grind it out, just like athletes, di ba? You have to grind it out because you have to earn your hours. You have to earn your, kumbaga, game cred, di ba? We call it street cred,
Correct.
now we call it their game cred. So yeah, so yun nga rin yung Perilson if they get worn out. Diba? I mean, this is just from an observation. If they get worn out, of course, injuries will also be inevitable. But now, speaking of
Right.
injuries, Doc Rich, are you there?
Yeah. Let's talk to Doc Rich about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
better.
hear me?
Yeah, Doc Rich, go ahead.
Med.
Are you good?
Yeah, malabo.
Okay. Medyo ano pa rin. Sige. Benny,
Very
baka you
medyo
have questions for
a bit.
ano, for our
Yeah,
guests.
siguro ano while we're Doc Rich, are you good? Is the internet connection better? Medyo grainy si
Well, I
Doc
can
Rich
hear you
right.
guys.
All right, okay. Siguro let's just try to show this one video clip that was given to us by Doc Rich and see. I'd like to understand from this video what are the common. I think this is a very basic video that everyone does during pandemic. Siguro let's just chime in on how are we gonna be avoiding certain mistakes, certain injuries, given that these are the normal stuff that we do these times. Let me just show you this clip, guys. This one. There. Guys, what do you think of those moves? Because these are the type of things that we normally do in our the comforts of our home. I'll just start with Doc Rich. Doc Rich, if we ever do all of these maneuvers, moves, what are we gonna be trying to look out to just avoid that the little things, those minor injuries that might happen. What do you think?
I think for me, first of all, what I stress all the time with my patients or athletes to have good flexibility. Because if you don't have flexibility, all your joints, your muscles, your body's actually not going to be fit enough to do the things you can actually do when you work out. Plus, you get also injured faster if you don't have flexibility. Especially now when we work out at home, of course, if just normal weights, we do people do lots of weights, right? But of course, after a while, I see some of my patients, my athletes, my players, when they see me, oh, how come you got so bulky, so big? And some of them are very thin because they don't do anything at all, or some are just very fat. But the common ground among all of them, they are very stiff now because they tend to neglect stretching exercises, flexibility exercises. That's where starts. So I
Okay,
tell them first before you do anything, try to warm up well, stretch well,
warm up.
then try to do everything gradually first.
Right. I
Okay.
think the key word there, Doc, is warm up. I think it's quite overlooked more often than not by our public. I think if you're not an athlete,
Yeah.
you're not normally inclined to do those warm up and you just try to dive into the exercise
Exactly.
already. Mike, what do you think? Is really that those types of things key to these types of exercises?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear anything that Doc Rich had said. I'm not sure if anyone
Well,
else
he
could, but
mentioned
I'm not
about
sure I couldn't hear at all.
he mentioned about warm-ups
Flexibility.
and
Flexibility.
flexibility. These types of things.
Flexibility, I saw
Let's
that one. Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I 100% agree that you obviously need to warm up before you do any type of program. I think the trainer also should have a disclaimer and know whether or not this is an advanced, intermediate, or beginner workout, and announce it prior. I think the exercises that were shown there were some of them were quite good. Some of them were a little more advanced than others. Like I'm not sure if a beginner could do the plank and shoulder tap to that type of technique that the trainer had shown there. So I think you have to do it at your level as well. You can't blame everything on the trainer. They need to know what they can handle or what they can't. And I know that most people will want to push themselves because it's a workout, but you are the best gauge for your own fitness level as well, right? So that's important too.
Right, right. Marts, what are your take on this?
I guess before you start, tingnan mo muna kung nasan yung fitness level mo right now before you proceed any activity at all. And of course, kailangan tingnan mo rin kung anong meron kang equipment na on hand that you have. Then, based from kung ano yung meron kang gamit, you adjust. Hindi lang yung parang, oh, mukhang interesting tong workout. So, sabak agad ako. Siyempre, titingnan mo muna, kakayanin ko ba to? Siyempre, may duda rin yan minsan eh. Parang, baka ma-injure ako. Mas mapapamahal pa ako pag ginawa ko yan. So, siyempre, tingnan mo muna kung, okay, try it a few, 1 to 2 reps. Kung okay sa yung feeling niya yan, kung okay, sige, dahan-dahan mo, dagdagan yung repetitions. And then, on the next day, kung sumakit siya, do some different routine. So, your body needs to adapt. Hindi lang basta-basta ng banat ka kagad ng hard workout, kinabukasan, yari ka, injured din. So, sayang naman yung ginol mo na, di ba? Na gustong maging active.
Now, gentlemen, that
Agree.
generally under Metro Manila, we're under general community quarantine or GCQ. People can go out, can jog, diba? We are, kumbaga, parang, how can I say this, more loose than the previous months. And people who exercise outside, wear masks, diba? But what is your take on exercising or working out with a mask, Coach Mike?
Yeah, I think this is something that's debatable on both sides. I've seen a lot of reports on whether or not it's safe to wear a mask. I think for the most part, it's okay to wear a mask. It is obviously very difficult to wear one when you're training, right? And I'm sure most of you guys, even if you're walking around outside for an extended period of time, you have to pull the mask down every once in a while just to take a little bit of a breath. For us, once we do open, once the government deems it's okay for us to open, we will allow members to pull down their mask during the workout itself, and then as they move around the club, they have to place the mask back on. I think as a company, that's something that we've looked at, and that's something that we've decided to do moving forward. Now that could change; we're not open yet, but at the moment, our protocol would be that if you're inside the club working out, you will be permitted to put down the mask and for instance, jog on the treadmill. Now, we're lucky at Kerry; we have lots of space. The equipment is more than 1.5 meters, sometimes 2 meters. We've been able to box off our equipment to at least, in some cases, up to 4 square meters per bench, per treadmill. So there's a lot of space in between. So we're in a different situation from other gyms that might not have that luxury to space out their equipment and social distance in that way.
Coach Martin, anong take mo dyan? Of course, when you go out, you jog. outdoor exercises, but it's inevitable that people will be around, diba? Working out with a mask.
Working out with a mask is not okay for me kasi mahihirapan ka rin. If you could see, lalo na yung NBA, di ba? Ngayon, nagsasort na. Pag nagsiscrimmage nga sila without mask. So, pero pag after ng game nila, pag buo na ulit sila sa bench, naka-mask na sila, pero naka-social distance. Kasi mas mahirapan kang gumalaw eh. So, mas daming energy ang mas nagagamit mo pag sobrang effort ka, pag meron ka pang mask. And it's not safe friend for you while doing that.
Doc Rich, I want to get that from a medical perspective.
Yeah, well, if you wear mask while training, it's actually hard. Okay, but there's also a time limit you can actually use the mask. You can't wear mask and training hard for 4 hours. You're gonna get dizzy there. It's like having carbon dioxide overload. If you notice also in elite athletes, they use some high altitude masks that you can wear for training just to expand your lungs. So people, it's been there, but of course the normal mask won't actually do that for you. So what's nice with Kerry is like what Mike said, they have very social distancing, so they have very big space. So it's actually very good because they're not, cramped up together like some other gyms, which is very small, and then everyone's there in a 20 square meter place. There are 5, 10 people, or at least, or machines which are actually close together. That's hard, especially if everyone's sweating, coughing, or whatever, or sneezing. It's just a very high risk of being contaminated.
Pero ngayon, Doc Rich, for the general public, diba, who go out to the parks, who go down to their condos or to their to outside of their homes, diba? What's your take on
Well, I think
that?
it's still bad. Yeah, if you're gonna jog or just gonna ride a bike, I think it's still be safe. If no one's there, that's okay, fine. You don't have to wear a mask. But if he's someone there near you or something, you really have to wear a mask just to, not to get contaminated from the people around you, or at least not to spread the germs which you can actually have, because most of the people are asymptomatic. So that's why we have to be aware of that also. Yeah.
Actually, yun kasi yung ano no? I mean, it could have been a game changer if COVID were not asymptomatic, diba? If you showed the signs right away, you can actually isolate the people, segregate them on whoever's positive or not.
Exactly.
But then yun nga, I think that's a reminder for the general public to not put our guards down, diba? Hindi ibig sabihin forget. Diba, Benny? If it's GCQ already, we can just go out. It's still important for the safety of the people, right? Benny, go
I
ahead.
think I think we have to strike a balance between really the health aspect and the fitness aspect. While we do understand that there's always that need for us to have that physical wellness intact, because it's really part of our humanity. We have to be very philosophical about it, but the truth of the matter is it's ingrained with every human spirit to be active. But we really have to put that in the right perspective to really put importance to the rising COVID cases, where it right now, as I was mentioning, it has now become personal, because most of the people that is victimized by COVID has become someone of a friend of a friend of a friend already. It's coming closer, so it's the vigilance aspect in everything is really, it should be heightened, and I think the type of things that our guests have mentioned, Migs given us a very nice insight as to how we're gonna be pushing forward with our environment inside the home, where I think there's a lot of we really have to put the right perspective in our physical activities. I think some of the key takeaways that I got with the discussion is that flexibility, that really have to put it within your level. I think there's a lot of excitement that I have plenty of time but I need to do this drill because I just like doing this because Mike Montes did it. So we don't have to do that, because we're not yet in that Mike Montes level, but we need to be there. So at some point, so Migs, I think we have
You're already
our
there, Benny. You're already there.
you're my blood brother, brother. So, yeah, I think we have to close out that discussion to and give the our guests the opportunity, their time in the sun, to really talk about their endeavors. Because what we try to do with the show mix is that we try to give them the opportunity to promote anything, like in the
Yeah, of
case of the
course.
volleyball players, we try to tell them, if you're selling something, if you're doing online selling, you try to do it now, and we're supporting everyone who's trying to grind it out during this pandemic. I'll start first with the Marts. Give your closing remarks to our audience and promote whatever it is that you need to promote.
Uh, First of all, thank you for this opportunity, and it's a pleasure to give this talk, Ren, or itong discussion na to. So, of course, you have to take care of yourself, Ren. So, don't push yourself. Kung kailangan mo mag-stop, you stop. And hindi yung basta-bastang banat ka lang ng banat. And of course, hi Coach Jom. And syempre, kailangan balance rin. So, eat well, use this opportunity to learn new skills. And of
Agree.
course, adopt. Kailangan mabilis ka mag-adapt eh. Kung hindi ka mag-adapt, wala, maiiwanan ka rin. So, kung ano man yung kailangan ayusin sa bahay, use your time wisely. And take care of your family. Itong chance na to na para alagaan mo yung family, yung mother mo, yung parents mo, take care of your pets, bond with your brother, sister, and of course, take care of yourself lalo.
Agree.
Yan, kung hindi mo alagaan ang sarili mo, paano mo alagaan yung ibang tao? Diba?
True. Agree. Thank you very much, Coach Marts, for those words. Tama yan. Alagaan. You take care. Love yourself first so that you'd be able to take care of other people. True. Okay. Doc Rich, I give the floor to you. My one of the kindest people that you'll ever meet. Doc, go ahead.
Actually, well, nothing really much. I just want to just say that don't try to be someone that you're not, or at least try to copy people, or at least athletes, or at least elite people who can do everything. Well, for me, I just tell everyone, like, maybe for now, try to be simple, do simple things which you can actually do. Try to maybe the best for me is still be flexible.
True.
Being flexible, try to do things gradually. If you think you're actually progressing, that's when you can actually do something a little harder. But I think the best thing is also just to consult someone, or at least a good trainer, or a physiotherapist, or a doctor who you can trust also. And maybe try to check if you're actually doing the right things. Because it's hard. You do everything, you see something, anything in the internet, you think it's easy, but of course it's not. And the key there is actually doing the proper techniques also. And
True.
doing the posters. Yeah. As Mart said also, yeah, it's the best time to spend time with family. So I think for me, this whole year, it's just going to be like survival. Yeah, you don't have to think about earning or whatever, just surviving. Just seize the day and have fun with your kids or family, loved ones, because you never know how long will this thing will last. And I think that's
Right.
it.
Agree.
Just have a proper routine, a
Yeah.
normal routine, nothing hard, nothing complicated.
Yeah. Well, Migs, let's just congratulate Doc Rich for that new bundle of joy that he has, Congratulations, Doc Rich, for that
Thanks.
baby girl, baby boy.
One more. Baby boy, big baby boy.
Congrats,
Baby boy.
congrats, Doc. Congrats.
Congrats to
Congratulations,
Migs also,
Doc Rich.
Congrats,
your
Doc.
wife, pregnant.
Thank you.
Migs
Yeah.
also will be there.
Thank you.
Doc, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Anything to promote, Doc? You have anything to
Nothing
promote?
really remote. But we have this thing company that actually handles AEDs. It's like
That's right.
a portable defibrillator, which is actually very important in times of people who just fell apart, just like Bogdan. He just
Right.
collapsed in the court. So I think this is the best time to actually promote this, just to save lives also. You know, five when you collapse and your brain just only has 5 minutes to respond, but after that 5 minutes, you just the chances of being vegetable, that will happen to you. So at least we want to have the AEDs that can actually save lives, at least prevent it from being vegetable. Save time to
Agree.
bring to the hospital or whatever, just a first aid thing. Yeah.
Agree. Agree. Doc, how
Correct.
about your
Yeah.
laser? The laser therapy.
The laser. So yeah, we have in Focus Athletics and also some of our clinics is this class 4 laser which the NBA uses. It's a
Mhm.
very good machine that actually for me it's the best machine because it eliminates all those warm packs, those what you call ultrasounds, those tense machines. For the physiotherapy for of 1 hour, you can actually get treatment for 10-15 minutes and that's it. And it does wonders, especially for fresh injuries, like a big ankle sprain that the athlete couldn't walk just after the game. Give medications, do the laser. The next day, be surprised the ankle is actually less swollen. Plus, you can actually stand up and walk. Very good modality. If anyone wants to avail of the fit of the treatments, just let me know or just let Benny know. You can
Of
actually help
course.
out. Yeah, even Mike. If Mike needs that back in the carries, if ever,
Okay, we
we
Of
can
can
talk.
help it
course.
out.
You know,
Yeah.
we always talk, whenever when YBC comes back, we're just one basketball game away from talking things like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
So,
Hmm.
Doc Rich, thank you very much
yeah.
for this opportunity. Always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure to really be talking to you. And so again, enjoy your baby boy and the rest of the family.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, Mike, we give the floor to you. Um, Go
Okay,
ahead.
well, yeah, I mean, obviously, we're in the business of memberships at Kerry, and at the moment we're not open. So hopefully we come back soon, and I think the next big announcement will be on August 1st as to what the direction will be for MGCQ or GCQ. So, as I mentioned as well, our club is lucky enough to have the luxury of the space. We're 8,000 square meters, so I'm able to space out all of the equipment in a safe manner, more than 1.5 meters distance from each other, 4 square meters per equipment. So I think our members expect that, and for anyone looking for a health club in the BGC, this is definitely one of the safest and cleanest once we do finally get a chance to open. Until then, I'll agree with the guys and what they've said. Just continue to stay safe and find programs that are proper for your fitness levels. Consult a professional if you're not sure to avoid these types of injuries. Prevention is definitely better than rehabilitation, right? So I think that's something that we all agree on. So yeah, I hope to see you guys soon at Kerry, all of you. And
We'll have our
Benny,
league,
I think,
Mike.
yeah, we had a lot of things on the pipeline, but
Right?
they've had to press pause for now. So
Of course, but we will definitely have our league because right now, I think if that horizon comes along, Doc Rich, you and me will have our time, with Migs and Martin here. So guys, Migs, let's try to ease out our guests from the discussion, and let's just try to tell everyone that immediately after this break, we'll have Miss Olivia Yao, who's gonna be talking about the mental side naman of being in the pandemic. I think our crew here, our guests here, have given us an extensive view on how we could be better physically in the comforts of our home, but the one that's inside our mind is really something that it needs to be talked about. Very, very important, equally physically, mental, because at the end of this session, we'd like to have a balanced mind and body. So guys, this is the traditional bull by the horn thing. Before we take you out of the discussion, we try to do this wave thing. for our guest. Migs, not you. You're gonna be with me.
Hindi. Nakikiuso lang ako. Yan.
You're gonna be with me. All right.
Sample lang, bro. Sample. Oh, I'm
Migs,
back. Oh, yan.
I'm back. You're back from Mighty Space. Let's have this
I'm back.
TBC, and once after this, let's try to have Miss Olivia in.
When uncertainty is our reality, we rise above with the things that matter. Gigify happiness. Gigify love. Gigify friendship. Gigify dreams. Gigify hope. With smart Giga music, video, games, work, and stories, we let our passions run free in the new world we face together. Smart, live Giga.
And just like that, we're back, Migs.
I'm
Okay,
here.
so we have our next panelist, our next speaker on board. And I think, very compelling to. Migs, you agree with me that, mental health during pandemic is equally important as physical wellness. What do you think?
I agree because I'm actually looking forward to this discussion because I know that I'll pick up 2 to 3 things that may help us. I think we all get refuge from family, if you know of doctors, if you know of our friends. Pero Benny, process to eh. Di ba? Parang it's like a process that we cannot see the light yet at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes you would be able to get over this problem, and then suddenly something comes up again, or like something
Right.
recurs, diba? So parang it's the first time that we've been really boxed in a space for an extended period of time. And how do we cope, diba? How do we manage and how do we stay strong? Kaya yeah, I'm excited, Ben.
Yep. Let's bring along our resource speaker, Miss Olivia Yao. Hi, Olivia.
Hi guys. Hi, good evening. Can you
Hello.
guys hear me
Good
properly?
evening.
Hi,
Yep, we
Olivia.
can.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Olivia.
Good evening.
Good evening. It's such a pleasure to have you on board. And I've been seeing a lot of your work, and on a personal level, you've been helping our family a lot in terms of my daughter. And thank you very much for staying within the virtual studio and waiting for us to
Oh,
to
no
have you
worries.
here. Just such a
No
pleasure.
worries.
No, Mix.
Okay, so
Right.
hi Olivia. I know
Hi,
that
nice to
there've
meet you.
been a lot of issues lately. What's happening with our personal, everything that's happening in society. But maybe for the past 4 months, what have you noticed sa behavior ng mga Pinoy?
Oh, well, Pinoys are known to be really resilient. We're a very resilient race, right? A lot of the times people keep saying, Filipinos are so poor, but why are they still so happy? But, nowadays I've seen a real big shift in this. A lot of Filipinos are actually now displaying a lot of anxious behaviors. A lot of their symptoms of depression actually has kind of like escalated. They're a little bit more open about how they're feeling nowadays as compared to before. Also, we've seen an escalation in suicidal rates in terms of numbers, although most of it are estimates because a lot of Filipinos are afraid of the stigma if a family member has committed suicide. They don't report right? Or they ask doctors not to put that as the cause of death. So a lot of different things going on. Actually, there's a shift in behavior, shift in the mindset also, and then a lot of actually going through with those suicidal those people who had suicidal tendencies. Actually, a lot of them have just gone ahead and done it. Also, a lot of rates of domestic abuse have gone up also, because can you imagine being on a lockdown with your abuser for the past 4 months if you've nowhere to go? There are no shelters, there are no other, there are no safe space to go to. You can't escape these people because you have a job, right? So, and because with the anxiety levels shooting up to the roof, those abusers are actually even more mad. Mas mabilis magalit, mas mabilis ma-trigger. So, mas mabilis mangbugbog or mang-hurt ng family members nila. So this is what we've been observing this past couple of months.
Yeah.
Olivia, where does it come from? I mean, of course, there is a general idea. Of course, you mentioned the word resiliency, people having no work, or at the same time losing opportunities. But from your perspective, from an expert's perspective, what are the common causes of anxiety?
Well, okay, so let's put it this way. I often explain anxiety as, in the most layman term, right? It's when you look far too much into the future, and not looking with to what you have right now. So you create scenarios in your head, and especially if your mindset, if you were conditioned to have a mindset of negativity or kind of like having that doomsday kind of mindset, then you become anxious. Do you remember when we first went on lockdown? Everybody went panic buying. Everybody
Agree.
went to
Yes.
the supermarket, right? That's a symptom of anxiety. You guys, that's a symptom of anxiety. You're worried. Oh my God, my family will have nothing to eat. What if all the groceries shut down? What if we can't go out? This is a symptom of anxiety, and a lot of people don't even realize that, because in this country, yes, there is mental health awareness now. It's better, but what we've been trying to push is actually mental health acknowledgement and action. There's a lot of awareness
Acknowledgement.
talk. There's a lot of awareness talk going on, but now it's time to stop with no. There still needs to be awareness, right? But now it's time to acknowledge that mental health is important and do something about it. So
You know what,
like
Benny? I'm guilty. I'm guilty with what Olivia said. You create
The panic
situations
buying.
in your head. Yeah, the panic buying, and sometimes you think too far off. But can you actually can you actually blame us? I mean, is that something to be parang, was that valid in the first place?
it was valid, right? It was valid, but then it's the initial reaction, right? I often say in my
Yeah.
practice, don't react, respond, analyze the situation first, and then create an action plan, right? But oftentimes, us as human beings, our initial thing is to go ahead and react. And when we do that, like, okay, oh my God, lockdown tomorrow, sige, labas na tayo lahat, right? We need to like get everything that we have, that we need to make sure that our family is safe. But then we lose the humanity aspect of it, because then we're not thinking of other people. We're not thinking about those people who might actually need those medicines, those syringes, those diapers for baby, for their children also. We're just thinking about ourselves. So we feel a little bit comfortable for the meantime, but then we're kind of like also, oh, this will only last us for 2 weeks. What if this goes on for a couple more months? And then there's that risk of losing the livelihood also, right? When everything happened, oh my God, how are we going to do this? Are we going to work from home? Or am I going to lose my job? What's going to happen? Instead of just saying, okay, let me wait for what my company is going to say. Let me see what my other options are. So we immediately feed into that feeling. Oh my God, it's all about theories. It's all about the stories that you create in your head, but you're not actually doing anything about it to move yourself forward. So then what happens is that feeling inside you kind of like escalates, right? And then all of a sudden you're having cold sweats, you're having heart palpitations and so now you're almost paralyzed because you're so anxious. So that's usually
Agree.
what happens.
Migs, there's
Yeah.
one thing that struck me with what Olivia mentioned. The acknowledging part. That we were there's a lot of awareness. That we need to be aware of the mental issues of the Philippines right now, but we are not acknowledging it. I think there's a lot of talk about it because of the stigma, and I think it needs to that barrier needs to be broken. It needs to be to have that kind of movement towards us understanding who we are, and this is the situation that we have, and this is how we move forward. And I think with what Olivia is trying to do of making sure that there is an awareness that we need to acknowledge, that's a step towards the right direction.
And then you need to do something about it, right? Filipinos are quite known to say, because well, it's nice that we are a positive people, but then we also kind of have that toxic positivity kind of thing, right? Na parang, okay lang yan, o sige, maghanap ka na lang ng ibang trabaho, but that doesn't help the person. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? But that actually, it creates more anxiety in the person. Instead, maybe shift the way that you talk into a more positive manner, wherein you go, oh, okay, I'm here to listen to you. First, just ask, do you need advice, or do you just want to vent? Right? Are you just venting to me? Do you just need a listening ear, or do you want advice from me? And then when when they say, I want advice from you, make sure that you don't dismiss the other person's feelings. Don't just go, okay lang yan, magiging okay na. No, wag ka mag-alala. Mamaya, everything will be fine. Don't dismiss the other person's feelings. Acknowledge it. I understand that you're feeling really anxious right now. Why don't we take a look at what your options are? Right? Or, hey, I understand that you're really, really, really nervous at the moment that you might lose your job. So why don't we take a look, at the job space? Let's see what's open. Let's see what else we can do for you. So be a little bit more proactive. Try to help that person move forward.
Right.
Sometimes,
There's a certain
sometimes,
yeah. Go ahead, Mix.
yeah, but sometimes it's a case to case basis, right? I mean, when we
It
deal
is.
with a couple of personalities, like I'm different from my dad, or from my sister, or from my wife, right?
Mhm.
Olivia, what's the best? Are there like best ways to kind of shift personalities also in order to empathize with others?
Yes, definitely. So you're gonna adapt, right, to the person that you're talking to, especially within this culture. This culture, like like the older, the senior, they don't like being talked to about this kind of things. They don't really like talking about their feelings, or they don't like getting advice from somebody who's younger. The typical response is like, "What do you know? You're so young. I'm this old already," right? Or you'll get a real pushback. So you're gonna have to really communicate. You're gonna have to adjust the way that you communicate with your elderly. Communicate in a way that they would understand. Don't be so direct. Ease into it, wherein they're a little bit more receptive of what you're trying to do. We are kind of conditioned as Filipinos to be a little bit, hindi ka kasi nakikinig, ganyan. Akala mo, alam mo na lahat ng kailangan mong malaman. Kasi may trabaho ka na. So it becomes that kind of conversation, right? So,
Right.
Yeah.
so what you want to do is, like, especially a lot of the seniors don't understand why we actually have to stay home. Right? They're so tigas ulo. Wala naman yan. Sakit lang yan. Lagnat lang yan. Ubo lang yan. And then they get mad when you try to, quote unquote, control them, right? So what you want to do is actually just kind of like help them understand, mom, dad, it's not just for your safety, but it's also for our safety, because I know that you are strong, because that's typically the mentality. I'm strong. I'm not going to get sick. My immune system is amazing. I take vitamins, I exercise, I'm really strong. But then you just have to kind of like help them shift their mindset that it's not all about them. It's all also about the kids. It's also about you guys, that if they do get exposed, that means that they're exposing the whole family. Right? So,
Right.
but it takes some a certain manner of communication. you know,
Right.
it's the
Right.
same thing with the kids. You can't just
Right.
explain it to them because then they get anxious and then they get scared because kids process things very differently. So
Right.
don't scare the wits out of your kids by just going at them. Okay, COVID, this is what's gonna do to you. It's gonna eat up your lungs and stuff like that. Please don't do that.
Right. Right. Tama ka, Olivia, no, on so many levels. And just to establish who Olivia is for the benefit of our audience. You know, Olivia is a specialist in behavior and is an interventionist and is a resource speaker that talks about the mental aspect of our society. Can you talk about this kind wide spectrum of things that you do, Olivia, so that the audience would understand really who is Olivia Yao? Because you have your you have your digital personality already. Go ahead.
I do. I am. I'm an education and empowerment consultant. I am a behavior interventionist. I'm a mental health resource speaker and advocate. I also have several shows actually. I do live streaming on Kumu. That's a Filipino live streaming app wherein I have shows such. I have a yoga show every morning. I also have the Secret series wherein I tackle topics such as mental health, parenting, behavior. When this whole COVID started, actually, there was a lot of topics wherein I was trying to help the Filipino people cope with what was going on, right? So that they won't panic. I also have a business talk show, two business talk shows actually on Kumu and here on Facebook. So I know that I kind of do a lot of different things. So,
Wow.
but yes, I'm also a special education consultant. So yes, I do cover quite a variety of different things.
Right.
Mm.
And that's
But right now,
that's
yeah,
the
go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead, Mix. Go ahead.
No,
You
no,
were saying.
sige na, Ben. Go, 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 go. Sorry, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
no, no, no.
Go ahead, Benny.
That's really a wide spectrum. I was supposed to say that that's a very wide spectrum of things you do, and that's the new normal now. Mix. That's really how things are done. From a perspective of we have the internet and we know the capability of the internet to do a wide range of things while you're not being boxed into something that you could. Tell yourself that I am this person, but I could be multiple things already, and I think it is also very relevant to understand the kind of reinvention and digital transformation that Olivia is doing that can be done by our general population while we're inside, boxed in our condo, our homes, and everything. And I think this is the best representation of being moving forward. Being a person that is being proactive, being realistic. That the only thing that I have now, which is I am rich at, it's not just about money but time. You know that that the amount of time that I have should be productive, and it becomes a representation of being proactive. And I think there's a lot of sense to that mix. So I salute Olivia for being plenty of hats. Plenty of
Oh,
hats, so to
thank
speak.
you. Thank
What's
Yeah,
you.
it like,
Well, you know
Olivia?
what
What's it
happened?
like? What's it like?
Actually, I had to start taking my own advices because in the beginning, I really did. When this all started, I was pretty much Miss O, the behavior interventionist on the digital platform. All of my other things were kind of like in the background. Nobody really knew everything else that I did. But when this whole lockdown started, I was actually put in isolation for a month in my room because I came from Malaysia when I flew in from Malaysia the day that the Philippines went on lockdown, and so
Oh,
I was required to be isolated for 2 weeks. And so I knew that I would get really anxious and I would get really depressed because I'm very active. I go to the gym every day. I lift weights. I do yoga. And so what I did was I created a show right away. I did a yoga show to keep myself physically active, even just here inside my room, because I know that if I don't, I'm going to get into a slump. So it takes a lot of self-awareness and conscious effort to do all of this kind of things, right? like what you guys, what all of the other experts were saying earlier, a lot of people even realize how active we were when we weren't on lockdown, because we walk, right? We walk when we commute to work, we walk inside the mall, we walk inside the office. But then now we're just here at home. We're always sitting down. We're either just working by on the dining table or on the bed, and really the physical activity really, it's gone, and people don't realize that your body needs that movement. Your body needs that to kind of like help you feel good about yourself, to get that happy hormones, going inside your body. And with everything else that is going on, plus you being a slump in bed, it's not helping, right? So when I first started my yoga show, everybody was like, Miss O, but why are you only doing a 20 or 30-minute yoga practice instead of the full hour? And I was like, because I know that most of my viewers are new to this. And I don't want you to be so sore the next day that you won't be able to do it. You need to pace yourself. So you're not training for a marathon. You're not to compete. You're training to sustain, right? You're training to sustain. You're training to just make sure that your body is having some physical activity to keep yourself healthy. Because really, you're not joining a marathon tomorrow, right? So just be chill. Don't injure yourself. Don't. A lot of people go lift weights like it's the first time, and then tomorrow hindi na sila makagalaw because they're so sore. And then for the next week, right, they're just lying there like, oh, I'm not gonna exercise. Then it's not helpful. So you're
Right.
gonna have to pace yourself.
Mix, I'd like to ask Olivia about this. Although there is no magic pill to really cope up with stress and the anxiety and the unprecedented situation that we have. But I'd like to ask really, what's the first step? What's the simple way of really just managing your day to day, considering
Here,
everything that's happening around you?
first things first, I want you to recognize that we are all grieving. All right. People, especially here in the Philippines, associate grieving with the loss of somebody or a loved one. But we are all grieving. So I want you to be gentle with yourself. We are grieving the loss of control. We are grieving the loss of our freedom to go outside, to have our personal space. Now there's that big possibility, or you guys might even be experiencing it already, closeness fatigue. You're easily irritated by the people who
Closeness
you've
fatigue.
been living with. Closeness fatigue. Like you're easily
There is
irritated.
that.
Yeah, the same
It's
people
normal.
around
It's inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been living with them for like the past 4 months. Narinig mo pa lang yun, hininana na asawa mo na, asar ka na. That's a symptom of closeness fatigue. All right. So I want everybody to start off with one simple thing: just be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others, because we are going through something really, really stressful. This is such a black swan event, right? It is nobody. This is just something that's so unprecedented. So first things first, be kind to yourself and be kind to the people around you. The next thing that I would suggest is to develop a schedule. Benny knows this. I'm a schedule. I always say create a schedule, right? Create a schedule and develop a routine. Those are two very different things. A schedule is a list of activities that you're going to do throughout the day. Routine is do each of those activities. So routinize each of those activities. If you aren't used to having a schedule, I suggest just to have a to-do list first. Maybe 2 or 3 things, right? And then just kind of like cross them off so that you feel like you've been productive. Now, with a schedule and routine, when you're developing a schedule and routine, make sure that you don't actually overpack it. A lot of people create such a, oh my gosh, fancy schedule, one on top of the other. Please don't do that, because you're setting yourself up for failure. So make sure that you have break times in between. You have ample time, that it's not so packed. Okay. Remember, you're being gentle to yourself. And then I want you to schedule a dump day. A dump day. okay, within your weekly schedule. What is a dump day? A dump day is a day wherein you just don't do anything and you're not guilty about it. Okay, this is a day wherein you can just Netflix and Netflix and chill. Wherein you can just be a bed burrito. You can just order in. You don't have to cook. You don't have to clean. Just have a dump. A lot of the times, we feel anxious. We're feeling a lot of depression symptoms. We just want to stay in bed because we want to shut down because we don't know what to do anymore. This is a coping mechanism. And then we feel guilty because we're not productive, right? So I say schedule a dump day. Then you don't have to feel guilty about doing nothing, about not cleaning the house, about not giving your kids a bath. It's okay. They will survive one day without taking a bath. Okay? Let them get dirty. So this is like the most simplest thing that you can actually do at home. It sounds simple, but it's actually really, really hard to implement. It's really hard to implement because it requires discipline. It requires conscious effort to implement. So, but like
Wow.
at the very least, be kind. Be conscious about your words, how you talk to people, right? So instead of like saying, let's say I would say Benny or Mike, I'd go like, naasar ka na, right? Because you closeness fatigue. You're like, oh, but then you suot mong t-shirt, right? And then you feel bad. I'm like, why? I like this shirt. It's nice. It's comfortable. I like it. So instead of saying it that way, maybe you can just go, oh, you know what, your pink shirt? I really like that pink shirt. You look so guapo in it. So shift your words to more positive. Instead of telling somebody what you don't want them to do, tell them what you want them to do instead. And then, give appropriate phrases. So at least you're not only being a positive person to yourself, you're being a positive influence to everybody in the household. So now you're changing the atmosphere in your house. But it all starts from you because you're the only person that you can control, right? You can't tell people, "Ba't ganyan ka? You're so sungit." So you first. Okay? The only person that you can control is yourself.
Olivia, I want to ask something. Of course,
Start
with the
with
advent of with the advent of schooling, parents being having work from home, parents suddenly feel all the weight that's coming down to them, right?
Mhm.
Because have you take care of the kids, having to cook, having to clean, having to work at the same time. What do you usually advise families during this time?
Okay, so with this one, I typically say again, you need to have your schedule. You need to have your routines, right? Because with your schedule and your routines, you're actually helping your kids become more independent. When kids know what is expected of them, then they can actually implement it on their own, which means this is a load off of you. Okay. Another thing is designated workplaces, right? So make sure that your kids know that when you sit at this certain area, when you're wearing a certain shirt, that means that you are working, you are not to be disturbed, so that you don't get annoyed, with them going, "Mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy," because you're working. You can also make use of visual aids saying, okay, when the clock pointed at this numbers, this is the time that you can come and play with mommy and daddy. Another thing is to give them a space where they can be rowdy. All right, so that they know which area they can be rowdy, play, and just be as noisy as they want. Okay, so designated areas are very important. Another important thing is make sure that you delegate. Okay, you are not super mommy, you are not super daddy. You can't do everything by yourself. You cannot clean the whole house and cook lunch while still doing work and then still being a dad. So make sure that you delegate roles. All right. So maybe mom is in charge. If you don't have a nanny, maybe mom is in charge for breakfast, dad is in charge of lunch, things like that, so that you don't feel like the whole weight of the world is on you. So with school, though, this is going to be a big challenge because now you're also going to have to facilitate learning, right, with the kids. So again, designated work areas, make sure that you do most of your meetings, all of your heavy work when your kids are also working, when they are also in school. school because they are less likely to bother you when they are in school, when they're also busy with their own work. All right?
Benny?
Agree. There's so many things that you can pick up from Olivia. You don't have any idea, mixes. This is a very, very wonderful lady that we have here. And I think these are practical things that you can live by in terms of the daily living. These types of things about having those closeness things and a fatigue on it. And now I put labels on it already, so it gives me that now. It's more of an awareness again. I'm using that word again of what's around you, because at the end of the day, the whole gamut of things inside your house, you're familiar with it. So if you're not recognizing that there's a new way of looking at things because you do it every day, then yeah, fatigue would set in. And I think fatigue is the fundamental item that starts stress. And this is just me, just me as a lay person, just understanding what's this all about. That stress happens when I think the little things, it gives you that level of fatigue. If I could
Bothers
just
you
chime in
already,
on that.
right?
Right,
So
right, right,
you have to understand that when you are stressed, your immune system goes down, right? So
right.
when you are anxious, when you are feeling symptoms of depression, you get really, really stressed. Your immune system goes down, and then you
Mhm.
are more likely to get sick if that's the case, right? So make sure that you take your me time. So I know that you've been enclosed in one place with your partner for quite some time. Make sure that you have schedules of just me time, right? Me time, separate me times, and then of course don't forget your date night. So maybe on a
Of
Monday it's
course.
mom's me time, an hour. Wednesday
Yep.
it's dad's me time for an hour, and then Friday when the kids are asleep, you have your date night, right?
The
Even if
date,
it's just over a glass of wine, you're just talking. That's fine. Okay,
uh,
Netflix movie nights are not date nights, okay?
is it? Isn't it?
Because
Okay.
you're not connecting with each other. You're not talking.
Oh
You're
yeah.
not connection. So I actually like to tell people because of all of this anxiety and depression going on at the moment. Make sure I really don't like the term social distancing. I really
Okay.
don't
Okay.
like that. I want to say that we are physically distancing ourselves from each other.
Oh,
We are
agree.
really distancing ourselves from each other to prevent the spread of the virus, but we must remain socially connected because this is how
Connected.
we are going
Socially connected.
to fight anxiety and depression,
Socially
right?
connected. Social
Yeah,
connection. Yeah. Go
yeah.
ahead,
How do you
Mixes.
actually sustain something when you don't know the light? You don't know where the light is.
What do you mean? Oh, well, this is where mindfulness and being present is going to have to come in. And this is something that has such a big, there's a big awareness going on about being mindful now, right? They think it's all about meditation, it's all about, but not really. Okay, not really. Being mindful, you can be mindful washing the dishes. You know that actually it has been scientifically proven that washing the dishes can be a stress buster because it's
That's
Oh,
my
very
stress buster. I
wow.
like
You
doing the
love it, huh?
dishes. Yeah, I like doing the dishes.
it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
it's a very
Okay.
sensory activity. The smell of the soap, the water, you know how slimy or slippery it is. When you are mindful activity, when you're not thinking, oh no, maglilinis pa ako ng banyo. Oh no, I still have to have another deadline that's due. When you're not hurrying an activity and you're just enjoying the smell, the feeling, that actually helps bring stress levels down. So multitasking increases stress levels. So if you're the kind of person who's like, okay, I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation, and then you're kind of like, oh, you're kind of like delegating other stuff to other people, or you're on your phone and doing Facebook at the same time. If if you notice your heart rate is a little bit fast and you do that. So if you just put the other things down and just concentrate on one thing, and you're mindful and you're enjoying each step of the way, right? Now you are being present. Now you don't feel as stressed, right? Now you're enjoying the activity actually. So this might take a lot of practice. So again, be gentle with yourself. And I
Be
know
gentle with yourself.
this can be really, really iffy, especially when it comes to work, because work can be really stressful, right? So make sure that you
Yeah.
find things to do, like even eating.
Be gentle with yourself.
Us, we eat bilis, right? Bilis tayo magkain. Tapos, wala na, right? You don't even smell the food anymore. You don't even like enjoy the texture or like how it feels like. No, manami pa akong gagawin. And then you're done. And then later on, you're already hungry again. Why? Because you didn't like your system didn't have the time to actually um
Digest.
not really digest, but it didn't have the time to click in your head that hey, you're full, you're good, you enjoyed everything, the whole experience was good, right? It's kind of like also
Right.
like that mindlessly eating. So I want you to think about when you go to the movie house and you're eating popcorn, you buy a big tub of popcorn, and even before the previews are done, kapati na yung popcorn, right? Because you're just eating, wala, hindi mo niisip yung nikakain mo kasi you're watching. But
Right.
actually have like the bags of popcorn that we have in the house, and if you're just like eating popcorn like for a snack and you're actually enjoying it after a couple of handfuls, you're good already, right? So there's those things you
Right.
really have to try to be more mindful and make sure that you kind of like take a look at the 80-10 situation. A lot of the times people tend to perseverate or obsess about that one thing that they don't. They fail to see everything that they have. Hey, I have a comfortable room to stay in. I have savings. I have this and this and this. But people are thinking, oh, I can't go out and party. Oh, I can't go out to the beach right now. But then there's so many other things that we can celebrate, right? So I'm not saying not want to go out because I definitely want to
Right.
go
Olivia?
and I definitely want to go scuba
Yeah.
diving. Right?
Agree.
But then we can put that on the list and then maybe say, okay, once this is done, this are my priorities, right? But for right now, let us concentrate on what we can do to make ourselves productive, to help ourselves, right? But also make sure that you're not pushing yourself so much just because of that
Right.
activity pressure that everybody's putting on everybody right now.
Benny, are you there?
Yeah. Yeah, Migs, I'm here. Olivia, I'm still here. You know what? We still owe someone his place in the sun now because of the earlier technical difficulties. I'd like to bring into the stream, although I have to apologize na naging late yung pasok natin kay Sir Bardz Zotomayor from the insurance agency. So I just like to relate, how things are from their perspective in terms of covering the aspect of, the situation right now. So Migs, if you may, ipasok ko lang si Sir Bardz, Olivia.
Okay.
Yeah, hi Sir Bardz.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Hi.
Yan.
Finally.
Finally.
Yeah, finally
I'm
we
Hi,
got
Olivia.
to have you
Hi,
here
Benny.
inside the
Good
discussion.
evening.
We apologize
Yeah.
kanina because of the internet connection.
Yeah.
Right.
But very interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting
Thank
yung
you.
mga pick ni Olivia. Ang dami ko natutunan.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, Sir Benny.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, siguro Migs, the reason why we really had si Sir Bardz and the insurance stake on this, the insurance industry's stake on this is kumbaga, we would like to understand really what is the industry doing to align to the current situation, because sila Sir Bardz and AA Guarantee has been doing some adjustments and some new products that will really try to cope up with COVID.
Yeah.
So Bards, tell us more
Correct.
about AA and what they're trying to do right now, and what are
Yeah,
the new
okay.
products lined up that is COVID related, so to speak.
Yes. Good evening. Basically,
Uh,
sayang na-postpone lang yung project natin but eventually nasa pipeline naman ni Pinoyliga yan. We have insurance with Pinoyliga
right.
supposed to be. Hindi lang siya for the sport itself. So to their personal life insured dapat sila. But basically at least nasa pilot pa rin yan. Once nag-proceed na ko, let's
All
say
right.
yung games natin. Right now, very busy si AA because of our new product, which is the AAC Plus. Okay?
Yeah.
The Plus,
Yep.
which means may COVID, we are offering it to the public, basically, para at least protected tayo in this time of pandemic. Okay? So sa price nito, to give you a little preview on our product, for just 550 pesos, you will be insured for 6 months. Okay? So ang insurance coverage na to is once you are tested positive of COVID, we will give you 10 immediate cash assistance. And then, wag naman sana, but if in case of death due to COVID, the insured will receive 100,000. But it doesn't stop from there because not just COVID, even personal accident insurance, including the motorcycle accident, insured ka din ng 100,000 pesos. So imagine, for just 550 pesos, yung mga benefits na yon intact na siya. And then at the same time, hindi lang siya doon tatapos. We also give a free teleconsulta, which is very timely, yung teleconsulta, which is you could have a checkup through phone by a licensed doctor ng 3 beses. It means you have 3 calls in your coverage, which is very beneficial na kaagad dun sa 550. Imagine, if you're going to do check-up, pag nasa, pupunta ka pa sa hospital, medyo risky. Especially kung may simpleng ubo ka lang or whatsoever, baka pagkamalan COVID ka na and hindi ka na makalabas sa ospital. Yun yung problema. But with the timely product, of course, the teleconsulta, yon, you could use it already. Ang check-up ngayon, alam ko, nasa 500 pesos yata or more than. So imagine if you have 3 calls in your 550 pesos, that's already 1.5. So we're not seeing things lang na yung insurance is due to death, dahil patay, sakit.
Mhm.
We are giving also what they paid for. You see, the 550, good for 6 months protection.
Right.
You
Hello.
have protection for the COVID, and also you have the teleconsulta. Kasi ang Pilipino very hesitant in terms of insurance actually. So may mga pambili tayo ng alak, online, shopping na shopping, kung ano man. But basically, hindi natin fino-focus yung insurance. Unlike in other countries, actually, ang daming scope ng
Yeah.
insurance. Yes, that's the problem here in the Philippines.
Right.
But
Right.
we as AA, actually, we want to give a product which is an eye-opener for the Filipino. Even to the common Filipinos, the 550 is very low compared to other insurances. But we are committed to provide the services. Ayan. So, alam mo yan, Sir Benny, ang
Yeah.
insurance wala rin kwenta yan
Yep.
if the claims is not good. So, yun ang commitment namin.
Right.
You could see
Right.
the yes, Sir Benny. That's
Yeah.
actually our bottom line from there. And
Yeah.
biruin mo, nagkaroon ng pandemic and then we were locked down, but our company is pinrovide niya pa rin kami ang mga employees. So as you can see, the company itself is yung love na binibigay niya with the employees. So especially, it can
Right.
give back also the love to its clients. So actually, yung
Right.
pinaka bottom line namin ng AA.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Sir Bardz, for just really giving us some take on the new things that's coming up with our partner with AA Guarantee, and
Yes.
pasalamat na rin kami that we have these types of things that is in kumbaga in the pipeline, kasi new normal tayo eh. So I think Migs,
Yeah.
there's a lot of new things that's gonna happen in the future, and I think with Olivia's take on mental aspect, with what we mentioned kanina during the discussion on the physical side, and with what Sir Bardz has mentioned today. No, there's a lot of takeaway that we can bring out to our daily lives. Kanina nga sila physical, the physical discussion talked about posture, just taking it within your same level. I think with Olivia, it's really the biggest takeaway that I got right now is that be kind to yourself, be kind to others, because right now the world needs love more than anything. And the pandemic, if Olivia, if you can agree with me, is the great equalizer. uh, there is no mayaman, there's no mahirap, there's no it's not pandemic proof. You could be a billionaire now, but you could die tomorrow. And the
If it's
guy that survived is,
right?
yeah, the guy that survived is mas mayaman than you. 'Di ba? So it
Mhm.
really, money doesn't matter right now, And I think Migs, if there's one thing really,
Correct.
it's just be kind.
Correct.
If sabi ko nga
Yes.
may nakita kong I saw one poster over the group chats, if you
Yes.
see an opportunity
Correct.
to be kind, take it. 'Di ba? So what do you think, Migs? I think the whole discussion that we had this last 2 hours that we had brings me to that generalization, summary of things. Just be kind. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
Migs, go
Well,
ahead.
we had a lot of
Yes.
kumbaga takeaways, opinions from our
Sure.
experts, of course from Miss O, and we deal with so many unique instances, so many unique challenges
Right.
that only pertain to us. Pero yun nga, siguro
Right.
that's the common denominator. If you can do one good deed a day, if you could
Agree.
do if you could always stay positive and be Christ-like for whoever God we believe in, di ba?
Right.
Parang ngayon, it's all about, tama si Olivia, si Miss O, it's all about, we're not training for a marathon, we're not training for a competition, we're training to survive. Di ba? And if there's one thing now that can
Yes.
make
Correct.
us go
Correct.
through to the next level, or a light at the end of the tunnel, is mindfulness. It really comes from us. This is all just taking
To
away from
survive. Correct.
everybody's, yeah, taking everybody's opinions and kumbaga expertise in it. Yun lang. Yeah, and these webinars help us to be able to share ideas.
Agree.
And for tomorrow, it's another day, diba? And for next
Agree.
week, it's another week. But yeah, I hope we just survive this, do physical distancing, but still socially
Physical
connect
distance.
with one another.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
See, we got those types of things already from Olivia. Olivia, I wish we had more time, but I'm gonna give you the floor to just bring out whatever it is that you're promoting, because that's a handful right now. But I'll be honest with you, that handful is not a handful as well, because there's a lot of information that you bring out, and you help other people out. So go ahead.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Miss O. So, if you would kindly please follow me on my Instagram page. That's Miss Olivia Yao, MS period OLIVIAYAO, and here also on Facebook. It's just the same handle, Miss Olivia Yao. Please do follow me on Kumu. It's a live streaming app. You can download for free on Google Play and also on the Apple Store. My what do you call this? My username there is Miss O, MISS period O. I do have several shows on Kumu. I have yoga Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. I have Tagalog Tuesdays and Usapang Pag-ibig Tuesdays at 5 p.m. I have the Secret Series every Thursdays at 2 p.m. wherein we talk about mental health, parenting, behavior, and all kinds of different topics. I also have the Startup Secrets, the Real Negotiante Talk every Thursdays at 8 p.m. And then Biz Talk and Chill into the Rabbit Hole every Friday at 6 p.m. So, yes, please do follow me and you'll get more tips. I do publish a lot of content on my social media pages and also on different platforms. So, hopefully, I'll see you guys around. Oh, online consultation
Yeah.
is up and going. So if you guys have any special needs kids or special needs individuals in your family, please don't hesitate to contact me for online appointments. Also, yes, there you go. All right. Thank you so
No
much,
problem.
Benny.
It's always like what we always do here.
I'm sorry?
Like what we always do here. Yeah, like what we always do here in the show with all of our guests. We try to have them promote advocacies, products, services, from cookies to sushi, because everyone needs help. Because everyone is grinding it out, and
Mhm.
everyone needs to have their place in the sun. And this type of discussion where there are some audience, we try to push it outward. So yeah, Boss Bards, can you give a
Hi.
final words before we close out the discussion for AA
Yes.
guarantee, please? Go ahead.
Yes, sir, Benny. First, thank you sa Pinoy Liga. And then AA, actually, we just don't want to provide insurance. We also want to give life. If you want to check our product, you could visit us to our Facebook account, and then you could message us, and our sales executive will be glad to give you all the details that you need. Again, it is not just insurance product, but we give livelihood as well. And also, we have an upcoming value card, which will offers TPL, or the insurance for the renewal of your registration for your cars, for your motorcycle. It is a online registration as well. So we're giving it more cheaper compared to the insurance in the LTO. So, and then at the same time, it
Right.
is 100% guaranteed na insured ka. That's the point.
Ah,
Nice.
very good.
So that's it. I just want to have shout out lang to the AA family and Reliance, of course, and then
Nice.
of course to
Right.
my
Of
family
course.
as well. And then
Mr.
thank you, Mix
Alvin.
and
Yeah.
Olivia.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sir
Mr.
sir.
Alvin.
Mi-
Yes,
Mr.
Dr.
Alvin
Thank
de
you.
la
Alvin.
Thank you.
Yes,
Cruz,
thank you.
my boss and
Yes,
my amo. Thank you very much, sir, for giving the opportunity for partnering with Pinoy Liga. So,
yes, of
Olivia,
course.
Miss O,
Mhm.
and Sir Bard, we will have you do our usual ganito before we take you out of the discussion.
All
It's a
right.
tradition over our webcast. So I'm gonna take you out of the stream and do this wave.
Thank
Miss
you, Benny.
Olivia,
Thank
Miss
you,
O,
Ryan.
thank
Yeah.
you very much for
Thank
being with
you.
us, Sir Bards.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go,
Yan.
Migs.
All right.
All
All right.
right. Thank you very much for
Salamat.
being with me for this is 2 hours. I think this is a handful for you, but I think there's a lot of takeaways. What do you think?
Mm.
What was your biggest?
Oh, madami. Actually, maganda to hear it from the experts muna sa physical side na ako, to be honest, ako yung mga nanonood talaga ng YouTube videos
Okay.
for exercise. Ako, for me personally, naging effective sa akin yung mga high-intensity training. And I think it has done wonders for me personally. But at the same time, tama yung sinabi nila, if hindi mo kayang gawin, if medyo malabo para sa'yo, huwag mo nang gawin. 'Di ba? Because that is also to prevent injury. And at the same time, it's also best if we can consult an expert on what are our needs in terms of health, in terms of flexibility, what we need to work on. That's the best thing to do. But if we can, then why not? 'Di ba? Also from the mental aspect, yun nga, mindfulness. And actually maraming sinabi si Miss Una maganda na I think
Yeah.
nakaka-relate
True.
ako and kung sino mga nanonood nakaka-relate din. And yun nga, siguro ang pinaka-bottom line doon, culturally, from all over the world, kindness goes a long way, di ba? Parang smile is the universal language, di ba?
True.
Even though
Brother.
we speak in different languages, dialects, but when you smile, di ba, alam mo na yun, di ba? It's a universal thing. So, I hope
Right.
ngayon pa rin, sana ma-contain sa Pilipinas tong COVID cases, maging back to the old normal na tayo. We don't know yet, but we just have to do our part in helping
Agree.
kumbaga, to further downstem the transmission of COVID. But for the meantime,
Agree.
we're here. We're doing our thing.
Agree. We
Yeah.
have plenty of things in our plate that we hope we could synergize more. And ako naman on my part, Migs, before we end our cast, it's really all about tama ka, being kind, really all about making sure that para bang you look after people, and after you're not just your immediate family, but recognizing that everyone is grinding, everyone is just trying to live and survive in this day. And you have to you know maging ano, sabi ko nga ako, I've been doing sales a whole lot of years already. And sabi ko sa mga sales executive na tinitrain ko, alam mo ang pagbebenta, it's all about pakikipagkapwa-tao. And it is yun, it also applies to these types of things. And makipagkapwa-tao tayo. So with that said, Migs, Pinoy Liga TV, Bull by the Horn, appreciates your time. And I hope that this won't be the last for us, and there's
Of
plenty of
course.
opportunities to synergize with you, my good friend. And again, I
Thank you.
always recognize the people that helped us. I mean, the Pinoy Liga brand as we moved along. Your kumpare and my kumpare and your good friend, Mr. Mike Loyola, is
Yes,
always
sir.
one phone call away, because my kumare, her ang wife niya, Jovi Loyola, is a good friend
Hi,
during our
Jovi. Of
yeah
course.
our
Mm,
days in Bayantel. So Migs, I'm
yes.
giving you the floor to do the shout outs and just promote anything that you have, so that before
Mm.
we do this outtake, sige, go ahead.
All right. So currently, I have two programs online. Well, wouldn't really call it a program, but more of an initiative online. So one is I help Ren Ritualo out with his basketball school, sports school, sa Aklan Sports Skills Factory. Ano yun, actually, it's not really. It turns out to be a podcast or a webinar or a webcast. Pero eventually, talaga the main goal is for people's awareness that Aklan Sports is his project under the Aklan Group of Companies to be able to attract students that it's their basketball school, and at the same time sana kapag nag-ease na yung restrictions makapag-train na. Of course, under Aklan Sports, we do webinars. Last week, we did one with Coach Derek Pumarin. We did one with Robert Bolick, Mac Cardona, Joseph Yo, etc. And my main program online, it's on YouTube and Facebook. It's called Off the Record with Mix Bustos. I do interviews on sports, life, parenting, and everything that kind of resembles me. And I get my friends, I get their take on what's relevant and what's in, of course, in the world right now. And with ABS-CBN, we're still alive.
Of
ABS-CBN
course.
News Channel, of course, still alive and kicking kapamilya. So ABS-CBN News
Yes.
Channel is on. Popromote ko lang, Benny. Syempre, buhay pa
Go.
ABS-CBN kung
Of
saan yan
course.
matatagpuan.
And we love
Facebook,
them.
YouTube. Yes, Facebook, YouTube, I want through online platforms. If you have Sky Cable or for the cable operators outside Metro Manila, Teleradio is on Sky Cable Channel 27. ANC is on Channel 26 pala Teleradio, 27 ang ANC and Channel 182 on HD. And we still have Liga Channel 183, replays of ABS-CBN sports coverages. But yeah, I'm on every Saturday, 10 a.m. on ANC, and we're still bringing the service to the Filipino in what we do. Maraming salamat, Ben.
And syempre, Kapamilya, the ABS-CBN and the Kapamilya group will always be close to my heart, as I mentioned. They are one of the best employers that I've ever experienced, as a sales person for buy and tell. So, I will always be a Kapamilya and will always try to support ABS-CBN and the Kapamilya group of companies. Migs,
Thank you.
thank you
Thank you,
again,
Benny.
and I cannot
Thank
thank
you.
you enough. And I have to ask you to do this wave again before I take you out of the stream. Migs, salamat na
Thank
marami,
you.
and you have a good night.
Salamat.
All right,
Thank
ingat ka.
you.
All right, there you go, guys. We have 2 hours worth of so many things. Ako ang dami ko natutunan. Physical and yung mental, and again, universal language. It's all about being kind. That's the whole. That's the biggest thing that I got tonight. So let's just try to go over some of the things here. Um, um, Here. Right. So Jigs, go AA. Hi, Jigs. Sana na-flash pala natin that these are for Olivia. So, yeah, thank you. All right. So, they're here. Christian. Great episode. Learned a lot today. Stay safe and be healthy. Okay, these types of things inspires us to do better, to do better episodes as we move forward. Thank you, brother Christian Andaya, who's a great point guard for the Senate team and for San Sebastian dun sa ating Pinoy Liga Cup. A big shout out to all of our friends from that segment. So, I have a few seconds to go. So, again, next week pa, Bull by the Horn uli. So, we have another episode that, please watch out for it. And thank you very much again for staying for 2 hours to talk about physical and mental wellness as we go over this pandemic. Maraming salamat po. Good night. And again, this is your Benny Benitez signing off po.